Whoever says you can't get sound out of a turbo car, they're crazy. Hey, I'm Magic Mike, and I've owned so many exotic cars, and I've lost so much money along the way as I've gotten bored and traded in and out of them. But that stops right now. I'm driving 50 supercars over 50 weeks until I find and ultimately buy the perfect exotic supercar keeper for me. Hey guys, it's Mike, and I'm bringing you back today a very special car, a unique one in my 50-week test drive. It's the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. This is a 2019 model. This one is tricked out. It's absolutely the top of the heap for Aston Martin. As you know, I'm searching for my ultimate exotic car keeper. And while this one may be a little different than what I would normally be looking for, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, perhaps a McLaren, this sucker's got incredible specs. 715 horsepower and a twin turbo V12, 664 foot-pounds of torque, but it's sitting on 4,100 pounds of car. So it's a heavy car, but I do have high expectations for this. First impressions, the car's beautiful. But for me, in order to have a car that I love, that I can keep, it's gotta be fast, so it's gotta have the performance. It's also gotta be comfortable. I think this is gonna knock it out of the park on the comfort level. Let's see what it can do on performance and put it through the ultimate awesomeness test today. Well, the first thing I'm gonna do in this car, this is not your typical car review. This is you riding along with me, finding a car that I want. So welcome to my world, and my world does not start in GT mode. My world is going to be Sport Plus, because this is how I drive the car all the time. So we are going to quickly put it in Sport Plus. And what I don't like about this car right out of the gate is you cannot put this car into gear with the paddles. And that makes sense. You actually have to hit the drive button, and it does make sense because it is an automatic transmission. It is an upgraded ZF transmission. It's got like a carbon spindle in it, so it can handle all this crazy power that this car has. But let me see what it will do. 715 horsepower. Oh my God. Wow. Would never expect that out of a car this big and this heavy. This thing, it's a rocket. It's unbelievable. Now, the test here is gonna be, will it stop? It'll stop. Carbon ceramic brakes. I do feel the weight up here. Now, for me, that's kind of a thing. I really like performance in my cars. I'm looking for a car to replace supercars that I've had. And you might think that I'm crazy driving in an Aston, like could that really float my boat and get me to make a change? And the answer is, yeah. I actually think this car is gonna upset a lot of cars that nobody would really expect. The performance is just crazy, and I gotta tell you, getting into this car, looking at that $364,000 sticker, I was asking myself, what is Aston Martin thinking? How can they possibly price this car? And let's face it, they built it to be performance oriented and to compete with performance cars, not just luxury cars, which it certainly has plenty of, and we'll be talking about that in just a minute. But I was thinking they've got to be crazy until I got in it. This thing will get up and go. 715 horses, that's nothing to mess around with. It really moves. And remember, it's a V12 twin turbo. So it actually has quicker pickup than some of the naturally aspirated, well, exotic supercars that I've driven and that I've owned. This thing picks up quicker, I'm gonna say it, quicker than I think my Lamborghini 582 used to. It's rated at 3.4 seconds 0 to 60, but I don't know. This thing might actually be quicker. And I could be crazy. I'm giving you completely a subjective opinion based on how the car feels. And in the end, that's what really matters. I'm not concerned about tenths of a second here and there, and what on paper outperforms what. I'm concerned about how does the car actually perform. And well, it's a performer. Not only is it a performer, but this thing, man, it'll break the tires loose on you. It's crazy. So completely impressed with the Aston Martin. In fact, the more I drive the car, the more I like the car. It's almost as if the weight that's obviously there, you've got a big V12 sitting up front, and it's 4,100 pounds, but the weight kind of sort of disappears. It's truly impressive. So the other thing about this car is the sound is brilliant. Whoever says you can't get sound out of a turbo car, they're crazy. This car pops and crackles. You know, it's almost like, dare I say, a Huracan, but deeper. I almost like the sound better. And that's a lot for me to say because I love the sound of the Huracan and the Performante. Performante would take it. Huracan? I don't think so. It's just a deep rumble. And for me, again, the actual daily driving experience is what really matters in this car. Is it comfortable? And I gotta tell you, hands down, I'm gonna make this really easy for you. It nails it. Honestly, I could drive this car across country, no exaggeration, and still feel like I have crazy power. And it's got all the conveniences. And this is where it nails the McLaren, it nails the Ferrari, it blows the Lamborghini out of the water as well. It has everything. It is as comfortable as a car as you will ever drive. The Alcantara just gives you just an awesome feel driving this thing. The stereo, B&O, Bang & Olufsen, unbelievable in this car, and that absolutely crushes the McLaren. It's great. I mean, honestly, inside the comfort level of this car, I'm not sure we're gonna find a car that actually beats this. And this is one of those cars that it is kind of mind-blowing that you can have a car with this kind of performance, this kind of real luxury feel, all just bundled into one. It's a hell of a car. I would have never, ever expected this out of an Aston. In fact, I'm becoming a huge Aston fan with every mile that I put on this car. This is a car you could pull up next to your Mustangs, your Camaros, you know, all these cars that are supposed to be incredible muscle cars, right? And you can blow their doors off in a freaking Aston Martin. Wow. It's unbelievable. You can have a 4,000 plus pound car that will ride absolutely flat in the turns under power like this. I'm blown away by it. It's truly a shocking car. Well done, Aston Martin. Well done. Would I replace my McLaren with it? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. This is one I'm really going to have to think on. I'm frankly very, very pleasantly surprised with the Aston Martin. Now I'm wondering, it does lead me to wonder, if I went to the lower level cars, maybe a little bit, with a little bit less weight, a little bit less performance, would that feel sportier to me? And would I like it as well as this? I really don't know. All I can tell you is this thing gets up and goes, and it just does it in comfort. Oh, and driving it, the visibility is phenomenal. I mean, you really can see very well out of this car. And what I really like is as I'm looking over the back of this car with the rear view mirror, the way that that deck lid wings out, you really feel like you're driving something special. So as far as awesomeness test, this one's gonna rank really high up there because it is a car that you get into and you know you're driving something on a much higher level than your average luxury car. And it's solid. Compared to the McLaren, the car is super solid. I have absolutely no rattles. I have nothing malfunctioning. It's basically a perfect driving vehicle, and I can see why people love these. It's almost a cult following, and I get it. So I love the car. Well, I'm completely blown away by this car. Honestly, I never thought an Aston Martin could perform like this. Now, granted, it's the DBS Superleggera. It's the top of the heap as far as Astons go. I would have never actually considered this car, but I gotta tell you, it performs better than a lot of supercars I've driven and owned. You get every bit of that 715 horsepower the minute you step on that pedal. There is very, very little turbo lag. This car takes off like a rocket. I would have never believed it had I not driven it myself. So for the awesomeness test, this car is gonna score very high and it's gonna upset a lot of cars. And also consider the comfort. I'm doing this in comfort that I could take across country. There's nothing I couldn't do in this car. It's beautiful, it's comfortable, and the performance, it's friggin' legendary. I cannot believe what this car does. The only thing that gives me any concern at all, and it doesn't rule it out as a potential keeper replacement for the McLaren 720S Spider, is the fact that it's got a lot of weight and it's got huge ceramic brakes. And when I say it has a lot of weight, once you drive this car and you really get into it, the car is super flat in the turns and the weight almost disappears. So where I only notice it is when I stomp on the brakes really hard. And a lot of that actually could be me and not the car. I'm used to the V8 twin turbo mid-engine car or a V10 mid-engine car. This has got 12 cylinders right up front. So there's a lot of weight there. And a lot of it is just really an adjustment, I think, for me driving. So all in all, the car is truly unbelievable. So an important show to tune into is tomorrow when I revisit everything we've done with this car this week and we rank it amongst the cars that we have already driven. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and also click that notifications button so you can get noticed when we do this and other episodes. I think this thing has put a smile on my face a mile wide, and I think you're going to be very surprised, and I'm going to be surprised, not so much anymore, at a lot of the supercars that this thing unseats. Truly remarkable car.